Yo, what is up, guys? It is the Gong Master here. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is having a beautiful day. Welcome back to another episode of Storytime. If you are new to this series, basically I just tell some funny and cringy stories from, well, my life, I guess. So let's just jump right into this. This story takes place back when I was a senior in high school, so about 5 or 6 years ago. I had just started getting into smoking the sacred skunk, and I was hanging out with a buddy of mine. We'll call him Crispy Butter. It's only funny if you knew the reason why we called him that, but it's an inside joke, and the boys would not like me spoiling the sauce. Spilling the beans. Anyway, him and I were hanging out. It was a weekend. We were bored as hell. We didn't have any weed. We were hitting up our plugs, but all of them said they were dry, meaning they had nothing. Crispy and I decided to just drive up to this mall and hang out with a friend of ours, maybe, if he was available. But this was when one of Crispy's friends hits him up saying he just got some weed and him and his friend were planning on going to go smoke and extended the invitation to us. So Crispy and I meet his friends at this nature preserve. Basically, it's this huge protected forest in this area. His friend sends us his location, and it's towards the back of this forest. This nature preserve, whatever, it was huge. I'm talking like 4 or 5 miles of just wilderness. It is, I loved this place. So we meet at this park. It's about 5 or 6 in the evening. It's getting dark, and we walk into this forest. We meet up with him and his friend, and it's basically just Crispy and myself, Crispy's friend, and then his friend's friend. So there's 4 of us. Crispy's friend has the weed, his friend's friend has the papers, I have the lighter, but the issue is none of us know how to roll. And when I said papers, I didn't mean papers, I meant to say backwoods. But anyway, yeah, the issue is none of us 4 knew how to roll. It was actually a huge miscommunication between Crispy's friend and Crispy himself. Crispy thought his friend was bringing a bowl, not backwoods. Also, quick side note, don't be smoking backwoods. Those things are nasty. It still has the tobacco leaf. It still has the nicotine. In my opinion, it adds nothing to the taste of the weed. It only kills it. Smoke hemp papers or rice papers. It's still not the best for your lungs, but in my opinion, it tastes better and it's cleaner than blunts. But I will always believe in glass supremacy. So Crispy is the only one out of the 4 of us who at least rolls semi-decent blunts. They are still shit blunts that still end up falling apart, but it's good enough. And he spends like 10 minutes rolling this backwoods. I'm talking 10 minutes from getting the tobacco out of the leaf to rolling it and everything. It took almost 10 minutes for him to do it. He ends up getting it rolled and we spark it up. We're puff passing this shitty blunt as we walk around this forest. It's getting dark. We decided that when we're done smoking, the 4 of us would meet at this pizza place around the corner to have some dinner. We finish smoking this shitty blunt and walk out of the side of the forest. Not through the, I guess the front where you come in. Now, we went out the side because we ended up getting lost in it since it was getting dark. We're walking to the parking lot and that's when we see it. The car that no stoner wants to see. The kind of car that brings the serious vibes to the silly geese, you know? A cop car. Now then, I know I'm fine. I didn't really get that high, and I don't have any paraphernalia or anything. The only thing I had was just a lighter. Crispy turns to his friends, and the three of them panic. Crispy still had the little bag that had the weed, and it still has some very thin shavings at the bottom of the bag. Once again, all I have is the lighter. I'm not sure if it could have been used against me or someone else. I actually didn't know if I would go down for having paraphernalia. But the cop car rolls past us and stops a few feet behind us. We actually thought they were there for someone else. But then we hear the car door open and the cop says, "Hey, excuse me, hey, hey." Not even joking, that's how he sounded. Fucking, "Hey, hey." We turn around and we see that he's talking to us. "Get over here now, just a few questions." Crispy's friend turns around and says, "Oh no, we're in a rush to get home, sorry." And we start walking faster. "Hey, hey, I'm not gonna ask again." He walks up to us. We stop and we turn around. He says that they got a call about a group of teens walking around the woods smoking weed. He says that we match the description and wants to search us. Crispy's friend says, "Oh, I don't consent, I'm underage." The cop says, "It doesn't matter if you consent, I have probable cause. I'm not gonna find anything, am I?" And that's when Crispy's friend just books it. He just does a complete turnaround and runs right back into the forest. The cop turns to chase them and turns back to us saying, "Don't run or I'll have you arrested for fleeing." Crispy looks at me and says, "Fuck this," and starts running into the parking lot. So I'm just left there standing like a dumbass. The cop yells out to Crispy, "I'm putting an APB on you." I decide to be a dumbass and run as well. I can see where my car is, and my dumbass decides, yeah, let me just run to my car so the cop knows which car is mine. Now then, put yourself in the cop's position. Two people just ran back towards the forest. One person is running towards the exit, and a fat person is running towards the car. Who are you choosing? If you decide to go for the easy kill and catch the fat person, number one, on behalf of all fat people, fuck you. Number two, you'd be right. He chases after me. I'm dodging behind cars, running into the middle of the street. Thankfully, the officer was a heavier fella like I am, so he wasn't as sharp and as, I guess, fast as a cop who was in better shape. I use this to my advantage. I know these woods like the back of my hand. I basically grew up around these woods. My plan is to duck into the woods and hide out there as the sun goes down, and then run out the back of the woods towards the next town over. These woods were like right on the border of my city and the next one over, and I knew someone who lived not too far away, so I planned on just running to their house and waiting it out. This is when I realized that another cop car pulled up at the entrance of the parking lot, right in front of Crispy. I hoped he would be okay, and I just kept running. I ran into the woods and almost ate shit running down a hill. I ducked down behind the bank of this river that cuts through the woods, and I hear the cop's walkie-talkie going off in the distance. I peek my head up slightly and see him about halfway down the hill that I was just on. He says something into the walkie-talkie and starts walking around the area. I slip away past the river and run into a heavily overgrown part of the forest. I don't like tall grass. I had some bad encounters with tall grass and overgrown plants and stuff in forests. because one time I had ticks on me, and another time I walked into an underground wasp nest and I got stung a few times. So I've always hated long grass. But I decide that it's the safe option for me. I run into some overgrown plants and tall grass and I get on my stomach. I wait there for a few minutes and hear the cops walkie-talkie again, and it's getting closer. Alright, now I'm playing all gillied up from COD 4. I'm Captain Price, Captain McMillan is at my side. Take him out quietly or let him pass. It's not like the cop was right next to me. He was still about 20 or 30 feet away. I stopped breathing and closed my eyes, hoping he wouldn't walk directly into me. He gets about 10 feet away. On his walkie-talkie, someone says, "Suspect in custody, 3 more still on the loose." The cop, walking towards me, stops in his path and says into his walkie-talkie, "One got away. White, fat, blue shirt and jeans." He had to be talking about me, but quite frankly, I don't remember the color shirt I was wearing when this happened, so I just said blue. But he said the color of my shirt. I keep laying on my stomach for a few more minutes. I was really hoping that Crispy didn't get caught. I was fine if it was one of his other friends. You know, the ones that I don't know. If it was one of them, whatever. At least Crispy is fine. I try to text him. He doesn't answer. I stand up and walk towards the back of the forest. I had to stay off the main path, so I was constantly fighting the tall grass that I really hated. And you know those really thick thorn bushes that always poke you and scrape you as you walk by? I hate them. At this point, it's almost pitch black outside, and the part of the forest I'm in doesn't have any lights. Thankfully, I'm not scared of coyotes. I'm about to reach the bank of the woods when my phone buzzes. It's Crispy calling me. He says that he got away and he's at the McDonald's across from the forest. I know which one he's talking about, and why he decided to go to a place right across from the place that we're wanted at, I don't know. But I get out of the woods and walk all the way around the outside of the woods, which took about 30 minutes from where I was. I got back into the parking lot, all of the cop cars were gone. There weren't a whole lot of people around, seeing as how it was getting really dark. I get in my car and I drive away. I get to the McDonald's and Crispy calls me, or rather he texts me saying that he's hiding in the restroom because he didn't know if there's any cops around. I tell him that it's clear there's no cops around, we're good, we got away. It turns out that the person they caught was Crispy's friend, the one who originally got in touch with us wanting to hang out. They caught him with the empty backwoods wrapper, and I believe he actually served some time in jail for fleeing, and I think they might have also charged him with paraphernalia. A truly crazy story. One of the crazier ones I've had happen to me, but believe me, I still have a lot of stories involving cops and weed, so do stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this story, let me know. If you have a story like this, tell me down in the comments below. I always love to know. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Gong Master, and I will see you all later.